What's going on, guys? Zuko back with another Dragonflight video. I hope you're all doing very well. Grab your coffee, sit back and relax. We're going to talk about an upcoming build for Dragonflight for Enhancement Shaman once again. We're going to continue to work on these trees. This is like the finished build that I've got right here. So I'm going to get to this in a minute. I want to build it out from the top down so you guys can see exactly what's going on there. So this is kind of the final product. Let me give you an overview of what this build could be like in Dragonflight. This is going to be a single target build, okay, that focuses on like raid bosses. This is kind of what you would bring into a raid boss fight. And it has a number of extra buttons that we get to press that we can't do on live, like extra cooldowns like Doom Winds and Witch Doctor Wolfbones buffing your feral spirits, but also having buffs like Legacy of the Frost Witch, getting Hot Hand and Storm Flurry, having Primal Primer as an extra like Lava Lash buff. So there's a lot of really cool things going on here, including Hailstorm. I'll get to that in a minute. But this build also has a big cooldown in Ascendance plus Static Accumulation and Thorum's Invocation. I believe that this is going to be kind of like the single target sort of node to go down here if you're looking to do raid boss fights. So let me jump right into it, and I'll just explain. First of all, there's like a Wind Fury section over here. Then there's sort of a consistent fire damage section over here with Hot Hand, and then there's your big burst window with Ascendance, and then to kind of be the glue that keeps it all together, you've got your Witch Doctor Wolfbone stuff here in the middle. So that's kind of how it works together. Let me move this over here though, and then we're gonna build the tree from scratch. I also want to talk about the class stuff and make sure that I mention that because it's very important to understand what's going on there. So on the class side of the tree, you're obviously just going to take Astral Bulwark. You don't need to take your kick, which is interesting in a raid environment. You probably want to take Lava Burst because we do know, I think, that it works with Maelstrom weapon stacks, and it might be good for ranged abilities. Or sorry, like moments in a fight where you have to be ranged, like if there's a mechanic going on and you have to get at a melee. You need to take Frost Shock, and I'll explain why later. You want Flurry, of course. I think you should go Plains Traveler here to get the duration by 6 seconds. That just feels always going to be better to me. Spirit Wolf is good. We don't need Cleanse Spirit. We don't need Hex. We don't need a Cap Totem. Self-Healing is good. Focused Insight, I think, is very strong. Because if you're going to be casting Flame Shock on the boss frequently, you're going to have to refresh your Flame Shock. Maybe you won't be casting it, but you can always know that in the back pocket you can cast it if you want to. Then you can go Fire and Ice with Ancestral Defense. Then you're going to want 6% reduced damage taken here. You got the Leech there. I think you're going to want Rim Rush Totem for sure. Get your defense here. Get Lightning Bolt here. Then we want Crit for our nature spells. We want Speed. Now we're down in the bottom row. We're going to get Ankh Talisman, and I like Spirit Walk. You can, of course, take Gust of Mist if you are... if you're not a Chad gamer like me. All you Gust gamers out there, listen, I'll take it for like a couple seconds, but really I'm gonna take Spirit Walk. Okay, I'm glad we talked about that. Now, you got about 9 points left here. So you don't need Thunderstorm, you don't need Lightning Lasso and Thundershock. You probably need Nature Swiftness. But this is what's really cool about this. You can now get a bunch of utility to help your raids. You get Healing Stream Totem, Swirling Currents, and Ancestral Guidance, which is another really cool, awesome cooldown. If you need something like a physical damage reduction totem, sure. If you need a poison cleansing totem, go for it. Call the Elements is basically useless. But then you can get some personal defense. Get Earth Ellie, get Earth Shield. Now we have 2 points left. You can put 2 points into Surging Shields to get a 50% increased effect on Earth Shield. So you're getting 15% more health from your Earth Ellie. You're getting 6% damage reduction here, 3% leech over here. You're getting a massive healing cooldown in Ancestral Guidance. You're getting a buff to your Healing Surge, and if you press Flame Shock, your next Healing Surge will be 30% stronger, plus 25. It'll be 55% stronger if you press Flame Shock. So insane self-healing if you need it, which is incredible. On top of that, again, you have Earth Shield giving you 50% more. Nature Swiftness is going to be really good for something like Ellie Blast. And then you get Movement Speed over here, and you get 10% more health. So, oh, and you get your defensive if you drop below a certain amount of health. and you get a DR in Spirit Wolf. Like, you're so tanky. You're so incredibly tanky. This is sort of like an interesting raid setup, in my opinion. This is kind of something you might want to go for in raid. Okay? On the class side. Flurry is very important, and Lava Burst I think is going to be really important as well. Now, let's get to the damage side. How are we going to build this sucker out? Basically, you're doing a... It's like an all-encompassing build. Honestly, this build is for single target, but it incorporates like every part of your kit. Let me show you. You're going to start with Wind Fury over here. Okay, you want to get Wind Fury weapon, Forceful Winds. You need to get Unruly Winds. You're going to get Doom Winds in a minute. Take Improved Maelstrom. You're always going to take that, and Raging Maelstrom. Then you're going to skip Feral Lunge and make sure you get Lava Lash and put 1 point into the Lava Lash buff for now. You're going to come back to this and put more points into it. But for now, we're going to keep doing our Doom Winds thing. We want Ellie Blast. We want Stormbringer buffs, of course. We're going to skip Sundering, and I'll explain why in a minute. Again, this is single target. This is what's so cool about these new talent trees is that we get to pick and choose. Oh, there goes my mic. We get to pick and choose which buffs that we want. Do we need Sundering in a single target encounter? Maybe we don't. And in this particular case, I'm going to propose that we don't actually need it. The 40-second cooldown is not going to be as good as another talent, which I'll explain in a minute. We're going to do the 5-point Maelstrom, not the 10-pointer. We want the 5-point one here. You're going to take Wind Fury Totem. You're going to take Storm Flurry. You're going to take Hot Hand. And you're going to take Crash Lightning. Now, we have 3 more points that we have to spend. So, we're going to go back up to the fire section and finish it out. You're going to get this, which basically you're not getting the you're not getting the Flame Shock spreading because it's single target, but you are getting the cooldown reduction on Lava Lash, which is important. Then you're going to take Primal Primer and Hailstorm. Now, why Hailstorm? This is an AoE button. Zuko, you've lost your mind. Well, if you read what it says here, it also buffs Frost Shock on a single target level. Each stack of Maelstrom weapon consumed increases the damage of your next Frost Shock by 15% and causes it to cleave to 1 additional enemy up to 5 additional enemies. So, this is a 75% bonus to your next Frost Shock. My Frost Shock right now on live does 2,600 damage. Okay? We're going to add 75% of that. This is just like napkin math, okay? So my Frost Shocks are going to be doing 4,500 damage. And I'm going to be getting this Hailstorm buff all the time. Right now, on Dragonflight, Frost Shock has no cooldown. On the live version of the game in Shadowlands, it does have a cooldown for Enhance. And they might flip this. It's early alpha. Who knows? But just as an extra single target button to be pressing consistently every time you use 5 stacks of Maelstrom weapon, you're going to be getting a Hailstorm buff that you can consume with Frost Shock, which will buff your damage dramatically, in my opinion, versus the 40-second cooldown of Sundering. I think this is a much, much better use of damage. You're going to get way more damage out of this, okay? Now, if this build proves to be too GCD locked, then fine, you do Sundering instead of Hailstorm and you forget all about it. But I do think there's some value here in single target on getting that 75% damage boost because you're going to get that every single time. It doesn't matter. The cleave doesn't matter, but the damage will matter. So that's there. Now we've unlocked the bottom row here. So we're going to not take Primordial Wave stuff. We're going to go all in on Feral Spirits, Witch Doctor Wolfbones, and Elemental Spirits. We're going to take 1 point in Elemental Assault and 1 point in Legacy of the Frost Witch to get both of those buffs. Then the rest of our points are spent on Ascendance. We get Ascendance, we get Static Accumulation, and we get Thorum's Invocation. There is the build. Okay? Now, let me explain how this kind of works. This build is basically designed to generate a ton of Maelstrom weapon stacks through combos like Doom Winds, through your Wolves being up all the time because of Witch Doctor Wolfbones, through Elemental Assault, giving you a Maelstrom weapon stack right there. Legacy of the Frost Witch will reset the cooldown on Storm Strike, allowing you to build even more stacks of Maelstrom weapon. And again, the dogs being cooled down is really good, and they generate Maelstrom weapon stacks whenever they're out. Okay? The idea here is to build as much Maelstrom weapon stack as possible to be able to spend it during the Ascension window. If you guys don't know, there's new buffs to Ascension. Let's look at it here. Here, Ascension, Ascendance. Here's the Ascendance button. You're going to press that. Then you're going to be generating 2 Maelstrom weapon stacks every second that this is down. Okay? Then Thorum's Invocation says you will automatically consume up to 5 stacks of Maelstrom weapon to discharge a lightning bolt at your enemy. So you want to be building Maelstrom weapon stacks as quickly as possible, and you're just going to be launching lightning bolts while you're pressing your wind strike. So this is like your opening burst window right here. You go on, you pull the boss, you pop Lust, you generate a couple of Maelstrom weapon stacks, pop your Wolves, then pop Ascendance into Doom Winds, and you just press Wind Strike. You only press Wind Strike over and over and over again, and it will consume your Maelstrom weapon stacks to launch lightning bolts, which are doing 20% more damage, by the way, over here. Okay? That's your opening burst window. You put your Wind Fury totem down, which, again, doesn't trigger Doom Winds. You put your Wind Fury totem down, you get your Wolves out, you pop Ascendance, and you press Doom Winds, and you go. Go, 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 go. And you're just blasting for 15 seconds. You're doing tons and tons of damage, okay? Then, once you're out of the the Ascendance window, you have a more consistent damage profile that starts to kick in. So your Wolves, of course, have been getting cooled down, and they're probably back by now already because you're using Spenders with Thorum's Invocation, okay? So your Wolves are probably back. You can press them again. You've got Ele Blast as your best single-target Spenders. You can use that as much as possible outside of the Ascendance window. You can Nature's Swiftness an Ele Blast, right? Does it actually work? Instant cast and cost no mana. So I don't know if it'll make it cost no Maelstrom because it just says no mana. I'm hoping it also includes Maelstrom. Otherwise, that wouldn't make any sense. So let's assume you can do a Nature Swiftness into an Ele Blast, into a second Ele Blast right away if you want to. And then, again, you have the fire side of this build, which is basically the consistent damage profile. So you have Lava Lash, but you don't want to be pressing it that much. You're mostly pressing Storm Strike as much as possible and getting Wind Fury procs off Storm Strike. Really, you're all in on Storm Strike. You're getting resets on Storm Strike with Legacy of the Frost Witch. It's generating Maelstrom weapon stacks. Storm Flurry gives it a chance to strike multiple times. That's how it's working, okay? Storm Strike, fill with Crash Lightning, and then at the very end, you're going to fill with a Lava Lash, and you're going to be buffing it with Primal Primer. This was a BFA Azerite trait that is coming back, and it basically is designed to buff your big Lava Lash swings, but you don't want to be swinging Lava Lash like every 2 seconds. Like right now in the live game, we all run Primal Lava Actuators, and it reduces the cooldown of Lava Lash and lets you swing Lava Lash a lot more often. We don't really want to be doing that with this build. We only care about pressing Lava Lash once every 5-6 seconds maybe, at most. And I mean, we can't even do that. We're going to have a 12-second cooldown on Lava Lash, so that's how often we're going to get to press it until Hot Hands procs, and then it'll probably be more like a 4-second cooldown, maybe a 3-second. It'll be a 3-second cooldown, I think, if it's 75% of the cooldown on 12. That's 3, 6, 9, 12. Yeah, it's going to be a 3-second cooldown. So that's a very good, that's very good for us because we want to be filling mostly with Storm Strike. Then this fire build basically says you press Lava Lash once every 12 seconds to get a big Primal Primer stacked Lava Lash. It'll do a lot of extra damage. Then, if Hot Hands does proc, you're going to spend it. You're going to be pressing Lava Lash, Storm Strike, use a Spender, Lightning Bolt, Lava Lash, Storm Strike, Spender, Lava Lash, Storm Strike. You're not going to be able to press it every GCD, but it'll be like every couple of GCDs, right? Every third GCD will be a Lava Lash. So that's exactly the kind of cadence that we're looking for. Because, again, our build is focused almost entirely on Storm Strike, but we do need to have something to fill in the gaps when we're not inside of our big Ascendance window and when Storm Strike happens to be off cooldown, which will hopefully be very little, but that's the point. What's really cool about this build in a lot of ways is that you get to take advantage of the fact that we get multiple talents now that are all in the same row. I just want to bring this over and show you guys firsthand. So, for example, you're getting access now to Forceful Winds right here and Elemental Blast down here, Okay, we get Storm Flurry and Hot Hand. We could take Ice Strike, but that's not good for this build. We're also going to be getting Elemental Assault down here, and we're going to take Hailstorm. So those are both in the same row. These are all talents that share a row, right? Ellie Assault, Hailstorm, Ellie Blast. You can see it all here. And then finally, we get to take Ascendance and Elemental Spirits, which is really, really cool. And obviously, we're just ditching Sundering for this build. So you're getting access to a lot of really cool talents that you otherwise would not have been able to take. And on top of that, you're getting access to multiple legendaries that you wouldn't have been able to take either. Doomwinds, Legacy of the Frost Witch, Witch Doctor Wolfbones. That's the core here. We could take PLA if we wanted to as well for another legendary effect. But I do think Primal Primer suits this build really, really well. So again, let me just give you a recap of how this works. On pull, you press Lust, you press your Feral Spirits, okay? They're out there. They're giving you Maelstrom weapon stacks already. You press Ascendance right away into Doomwinds, okay? Now you're just pressing Wind Strike over and over and over again, and those are generating Maelstrom weapon stacks. You're generating Maelstrom weapon stacks every 2 seconds. Your Doomwinds is going to be causing your Wind Fury to proc, which is going to also increase the rate at which you generate Maelstrom weapon stacks. You're going to be generating lots of Maelstrom weapon stacks there, okay? You're going to be generating it from here. You're going to be generating it from your Feral Spirits. So you have 3 generators all operational during your Ascendance window, okay? Also, Legacy of the Frost Witch will be kicking in. When you're pressing Wind Strike and it consumes a 5-stack Lightning Bolt, which it likely will multiple times in a row, you're going to reset your Wind Strike and you can press it again, okay? Then, again, Thorms is going to be sending out those Lightning Bolts doing extra damage, and every time Thorms consumes 5 Maelstrom weapon stacks on a Lightning Bolt, it reduces the cooldown of your dogs, right? By 2 seconds. So that's 10 seconds per spender. Sorry, it's whenever you gain. I was thinking Primal Maelstrom, but it's whenever you gain. So again, you're going to put your wolves out, and you're going to be gaining 2 Maelstrom weapon stacks every second from here. You're gaining 1 every time you press Wind Strike, and you're going to be gaining a whole bunch more from the Doomwinds here. So, like, your Feral Spirits is going to come off cooldown, like, basically within 30 seconds. I bet you it's 20 or 30-second cooldown, basically, which is going to be really, really cool. So, you pop Wolves, you pop Ascendants, you pop Doomwinds, you do your big cooldown burst window for 15 seconds. Once that's out of the way, your Wolves are back. You press your Wolves again, and then you just work into your regular rotation. You get a Hot Hand proc. You're going to be pressing Lava Lash into Storm Strike, into Crash Lightning, maybe a Spender, back to Lava Lash, back to Storm Strike, Ellie Blast, Lava Lash, back to Storm Strike. You just kind of rotate through that. And then when you're outside of the Ascendance window, again, it's a 3-minute cooldown. So Doomwinds is a 1-minute cooldown. You'll get to do 2 more Doomwinds before this comes back. And again, Doomwinds is just going to be a straight damage bump. You want to make sure that you're kind of in a good place, ready to do lots of damage, have Storm Strike ready to go, and then you drop Doomwinds and you press Storm Strike, press Lava Lash, press anything, and you will be getting lots of extra damage from that. On top of that, obviously Flurry is going to be giving us a ton of extra attack speed, which is going to further incentivize the Doomwinds window there. And that's basically the build, guys. What you're mostly doing is popping all your cooldowns and doing Ascendance for 15 seconds, and then your regular rotation is just dropping a Doomwinds, getting if you get a Hot Hand proc on Lava Lash, you're pressing that, and then you're trying to press Storm Strike as much as possible, because Storm Strike is going to get you your Wolves back. It's going to generate more Maelstrom weapon stacks for you to spend on things like Ellie Blast. And then the very final piece is that you can either go Sundering. If it sounds like this is going to be too busy, maybe you just pick Sundering, and that's perfectly fine. But if it isn't too busy, you're filling in after every spender, you're pressing Frost Shock, because it's going to have 5 stacks of the Hailstorm buff, which is 75% more damage to every single Frost Shock, which is going to be a significant amount of damage. So that is the only pivot on this build. You can either use Hailstorm, or if it's way too GCD locked, you use Sundering instead, which is perfectly fine. But I do think that there might be room for a Hailstorm thing here going on, which I think is really cool. That's the build, guys. That's the single target raid, Ascendance, Wind Strike, Maelstrom generation build. So it has a ton of ways to generate Maelstrom weapon stacks very, very quickly, which is very, very good in your Ascendance window. It also is going to be cooling down your dogs all the time, which is really good. It's really neat just to see that the primary like legendary that we have right now in Shadowlands for single target damage is Witch Doctor Wolfbones, and it's just really neat that we're going to get to add on things like Legacy of the Frost Witch and Doomwinds, and then combine it all into Ascendance with this really, really crazy Ascendance cooldown window. Like, I love that Blizzard is giving us the freedom to combine all these things together and just see what happens. And I think that this particular build would be very, very strong on a raid boss encounter. So let me know what you guys think. What do you think about Enhancement Shaman for single target in Dragonflight? Do you think that this build has some wheels? Do you think it could actually work? What do you think about the new Ascendance buffs? Are you excited about Thorum's Invocation and Static Accumulation? What do you think about this? I'd love to know in the comments down below. Let me know. Thank you so much for watching. Drop a like if you liked it, and subscribe if you haven't already. I really appreciate it, guys. It helps out a lot. If you want to support the future of what I'm doing here, Patreon is the best way to do that. There's a link down below. There's multiple tiers of the Patreon, and you can get different rewards each month if you sign up. So thank you so much again. I love you all. I will see you in the next one.